You say communism is not spreading, but there may be socialism spreading in New York City.
I just heard this news.
That the next mayor of New York is Zohran Mamdani, who is most likely. It's not definite, but that's what all the indications are tonight. What does that say about the city that you live in, the largest city in the country, the state of the Democratic Party?
It's heartbreaking. I love New York. It's one of the great cities of the world. I moved there 5 years ago, and this news that we got a few minutes ago, if it is confirmed, I don't know, maybe I'll move to California.
Got plenty of room here?
But I'll tell you.
Gavin Newsom welcomes you with open arms.
I'm not sure. He might not count me a win. But if I may make a serious point about this, there are many unlearned lessons from history, and there are many unlearned lessons from the 20th century. But the biggest unlearned lesson is this, and it's played out in this race. Consider the fact that in the middle of the 20th century, there were two horrific death cult ideologies: Nazi fascism, Soviet communism. These both caused more death than any other ideologies in history. But here's the thing, we've learned much of the lessons of what happens when you see fascism coming. I mean, everybody thinks they see fascism everywhere. Maybe that's just an early warning system, and sometimes it's just people who are hysterical. But pretty much, I think, in the West, particularly in this country, we know what fascism looks like. We know what a far-right ideology looks like. We know, for instance, that if people start playing dark games of racial superiority and things like that, we know, we have inbuilt a don't you do that again, we know where that leads. Mm-hmm. The great unlearned lesson of the 20th century is that the left, by comparison, has never had such a reckoning moment. Whereas we know how you get to Auschwitz, roughly, pretty roughly, but we know. How do you get to the Gulag? I mean, you get there somehow, but the left, and I think the broader culture, has never worked out what the gradations of this are, so that you have, let's say that's the political center. Sorry, I'm doing it the wrong way around for you, but let's say that's the political center, and that's the Gulag. You go socialism, communitarianism of some kind, collectivism. And all of these are still totally acceptable parts of the political spectrum. But like somewhere you get to the horrors of communism, somewhere you get to the horrors of the 20th century in Central and Eastern Europe and many other parts of the world. How? Where? Where's the point?
Yeah.
And that's where somebody like the man who I hope is not, but maybe the mayor of New York, that's where they play around. They play around in this incredibly dark, unclear territory, which their political side has still not properly litigated.
Yeah.
And so they can say things like, I'm a socialist.
A democratic socialist.
A democratic socialist. Find me anywhere in the West that would accept somebody who called themselves a democratic fascist. I mean, find me that person. Of course we wouldn't. We wouldn't tolerate that for a moment. Nobody would vote for that. I mean, like 5 nutters somewhere on the Upper East Side, maybe. But no, that wouldn't get any popular play. But democratic socialism, it all sounds so nice. Oh, okay, in which case, at what point do you get to the not nice bit?
Yeah. And it's interesting also that it seems like for so many years the Democratic establishment has worked to stop that from becoming the thing. And you look at, in some ways, there's an argument that the DNC has almost rigged their primaries first off, there was no primary to get Kamala Harris. But then, Bernie Sanders sort of kept back against Biden, against Hillary Clinton. They've tried to keep that power center, the pragmatic, more centrist power center. And here, the Democratic establishment got all behind Andrew Cuomo and it may not have worked. I mean, Bill Clinton, Michael Bloomberg, all those folks, it shows that maybe the real energy, at least in some areas, is on that left. But okay, that's a whole other thing that we could get into. But let's talk about your book.